at the top. And, and if everybody would mute themselves if they are not talking. Welcome to Competitive Communicators. This is New Year's Eve, and I am Sunny Fridge, your Sergeant at Arms for Competitive Communicators, where you compete with yourself. We're so glad you could join us on this last year, getting ready to go into another decade. Right now, I'd like for you to pay attention to the screen. We're going to look at a couple of the icons. If you're a guest, this is how we communicate. On the bottom left, you will see a microphone icon. If you click it, you will unmute or mute yourself. If you see a red stripe, it means that you are muted. You should mute yourself when you are not talking. To the right of that icon is the start and stop video icon. We would love to see your smiling faces. However, if you have to eat, get up to make a phone call or go to the restroom or text or take an important phone call, please stop your video and be sure to return. We also have the chat icon. Well, before I go to that, let me say managing the participants. In the participants, you will see who is on this meeting, and that is important when you want to send a message. You send a message by using the chat icon, and the chat just lets you know if you are going to send a message to everyone. You do the drop down arrow, and then you can also send a message privately, and we also send feedback to our members and our guests when they speak. You can also save the chat. Only your private messages and the public messages will be saved. Only your private messages and no one else. Our policy: by participating in our meeting, you agree that a recording will be available publicly on our YouTube channel, Facebook page, website, and other public media. Again, Happy New Year. Our theme today is a toast to new beginnings. And by the way, since we don't have the opportunity to clap, this is how we communicate. So when you have to applaud for someone or just give them a little encouragement, this is how we do it. And also just keep in mind that later in our meeting, we will be having that toast to new beginnings. I'm so excited about that. I hope you have your noisemakers. I certainly do. I am so excited. At this time, without further ado, please help me welcome on this New Year's Eve our president.
Thank you very much, Sunny. I think you accidentally muted yourself a little bit early there, but that's okay. I knew you were introducing me. We're all good. We'll take a moment and go around our virtual room and have everyone introduce yourself. Let us know, are you already celebrating the new year? Because depending on where you are in the world, might have already happened, such as a friend in Sydney, Australia, have already celebrated the new year. For us here, for myself in the States, we have about 4 hours, 4 hours until the new year. So we'll go around the room and introduce yourself, share where you're at and whether you have or will be celebrating the year soon. I would like to start with our guest, Young. Oops, make sure you unmute yourself. Can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, okay. Hi, this is my first time to join Toastmaster, and thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot of things from you guys, because you are all experienced speakers, I believe, so.
Great, welcome. So glad that you're able to make it. Sunny.
Thank you, Madam President. Happy New Year. I am Sunny Fridge. I've been a Toastmaster since 2015 and excited to be here another New Year's Eve with Competitive Communicators. And it is Central Time here, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 5 hours till the ball drops. I usually watch the New York ball drop, so it drops at 11 p.m. So I'm so excited, and I hope everyone is going to be looking forward to new beginnings. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. William.
Madam President, fellow Toastmasters and future Toastmasters, my name is William Thomas. I am the Assistant Vice President of Membership, also co-founder, co-sponsor of this club, and we'll be celebrating this year. I live in Hollywood, Florida. Happy New Year! Woo!
Thank you very much. Isabel.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm Isabel. I'm the VP Public Relations of this club, but I'm actually want to step down, and I hope another member will step up, take this role. And today I will be the table topic master, and I hope most of us will have an impromptu speech to toast the new year. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you. It looks like Chris and Kim are having conversation, so I'll ask Sandra next.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My screen is all messed up. Hi, I'm Sandra Paris. I'm calling from Steinbach, Manitoba, or Mitchell, Manitoba. And I got kicked off, so I'm not sure what the greeting was supposed to comprise of. But I'm here, I'm happy, and I am looking forward to 2020. And it would be nice to start my 2020 with a toast to all of you.
Thank you very much. Kim.
All right, so I had to unmute myself. So I'm starting off I'm ending my new year with, I've been journaling all year, and so I've been excited about that. And I'm also going to begin my new year with my Michelle Obama journal, which I'm excited about, and have a lot of neat things in here to write about and become a better person. Yay, Sunny! And so I'm getting ready to do that. I've just read her book, and it's amazing. We've got 5 hours until the ball drops in our area. All right, I know it drops in New York, but I've had a good end of the year, and I'm ready to start off and have a wonderful, wonderful new decade. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Chris.
Well, thank you, Madam President. One of the wonderful things about having a stroke and sitting in the same room with your wife on Zoom is the wonderful 2-second delay in hearing everything twice. I guess we may be using that frequently in our marriage so she can make sure I hear her when she speaks. New Year's is about five hours away from here, and I am excited about 2020 coming. It's going to be a brand new year, a brand new decade, and I'm more excited than I normally am because I believe this can be a breakout year for me and a decade that I'm going to own. And my New Year's resolutions, I have many of them, and they're up on my website on my most recent blog. You want to know my resolutions and hold me accountable for them, go read my website. And if you don't want to hold me accountable, don't read the website. But Happy New Year to everybody around the world who are watching tonight. Back to you.
Thank you very much. And a returning guest, Willie.
Happy New Year for everyone from my side of the world. It's 9 a.m. It's 9 hours after the New Year band has started. So anyway, it's nice to be back in this meeting. Although you saw I just woke up. I need to fresh out a bit later. Anyway, thank you everyone, and back to you, Club President Teacher.
Thank you very much. And I, of course, am Trisha Grow. I live near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is a very historical town. And depending on what you would like to drop, you can see many different things. If you go to Dillsburg, they drop a big pickle. If you go to Hershey, they drop a great big Hershey's Kiss. And if you go to York, they drop either a white rose or a red rose, depending on which side of York you go to. So we have many different options, but I'm not going to any of those. I'm going to a friend's house and playing some board games and watching the ball drop in New York. But welcome all. Happy New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, depending on where you are in the world. And now it's my job to introduce to you our Toastmaster of the day. In this case, it's our wonderful, beautiful Sunny Fridge. Please help me welcome Sunny.
Woohoo! Yeah! Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Welcome again to Competitive Communicators' last meeting of the decade of the year. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to have a little inspiration from Toastmaster William Thomas. William?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and future Toastmasters. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. The quote of the day: it is better to be silent than for others to think you are a moron. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, William, for that information. Were you talking to me?
No. That's just a quote I came up with yesterday because someone said something to me and it just sparked that quote in my mind. So I thought I would use it today.
Okay, well, I'm sure there is some wisdom in that message that you have sent to us. But this time, we don't want to be silent. We want to raise our voices, and everyone who has an opportunity, please be sure to speak, because that's what Toastmasters is all about. We're all about becoming better speakers, better leaders. There are 3 parts to our meeting. There is prepared speeches, our opportunity to think on our feet with table topics, and then there's that part when you have to listen. That's the evaluation part. Looking forward to each segment. You couldn't do a meeting without helpers. Teamwork makes the dream work. And today I have several people who are pitching in. Our odd counter grammarian, William Thomas. Tell us your role.
Madam Toastmaster, my role is the odd counter. I look for those crutch words we tend to use, like you know, and so forth. When I hear that, you will hear my little flag thing. And as the grammarian, my job is to listen for good English language and not so good English language, and to come up with the word today. The word today is celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster William. So odd counter grammarian, and you also have a word of the day. If you can put it in the chat, I do believe it's celebrate or celebration, whichever one. Please put it in the chat. And each person, especially guests, if you have an opportunity when you speak, use the word of the day. And this certainly is a time to celebrate as we reflect, as we re-energize, and we look forward to the new year. It is certainly a time of celebration. We also couldn't do this if we weren't able to keep in time and on time. Kim Mitchell, will you tell us your role?
There we go. I have to unmute myself here. Okay, so our timing today is going to be with the speaker, our first speaker, which is Trisha. She's going to have 5 to 7 minutes, and at the 5-minute mark, I will hold up the green card. At the 6-minute mark, I will hold up the yellow card, and at the 7-minute mark, I'll hold up the red card. That will also be the same thing for William, the same timing. And once they reach the 7-minute, they have 30 seconds to end it. Then we'll have our table topics. And the table topics are 2 to 3 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes, okay. Dan corrected on that, 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, you have the green card. At 1.5, you have the yellow card. At 2 minutes, you have the red, and you got 30 seconds to end it. Each evaluator will have 2 to 3 minutes. And so at 2 minutes, we will have the green card. At 2.5, we'll have the yellow card. At 3, we will have the red card. And that, it will help keep us on time today. Thank you, Sunny Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Kim. I love your hats. I love everybody for being a part of this meeting and wearing a hat or celebrating in some form or fashion. So now it is time for us to start our meeting with our first part, and that is prepared speeches. Our first speaker is Madam President Tricia Grow. Tricia is going to reflect on her time as president of Competitive Communicators, and she will share 3 things that she has learned. Let's welcome Tricia Grow.
Have you ever considered being a leader of anything? Maybe you're just a team sport, a team in your school, or a functionary at your local school, your school teacher association, any leader, anywhere. Well, I joined Toastmasters because I wanted to be a leader, and I didn't know how to do so. So I thought, what a great opportunity to learn how to become a leader from an organization that is in their tagline that they create leaders. Well, this past year, 6 months of the year, I've been the Toastmaster president of this very club. But this is not my first time as president. When I joined Toastmasters in April of 2017, I became club president in June of 2017, with not even a full month of being a Toastmaster underneath my belt. I did not know what exactly I was getting into, but I had several mentors assisting me. And the first thing they gave me was the club rule. It went over what your roles are as a club president. What are your duties? Because there are many. And the one thing that book really helped me was that it had a 12-month calendar. And Toastmaster year is a little bit different. It starts on July 1st and ends on June 30th. And we'd like to say in Toastmasters is that you begin with the end in mind. So you sort of start at the end of the year and plan backwards, so that by the time our July 1st is done, all the things we needed to accomplish are on the books. This year, well, every year since we have been in existence, Competitive Communicators, we have participated in an online contest that Toastmasters International has. And this will be my second time helping facilitate this monumental event. Is a very special contest, which is a video contest, which we will submit to Toastmasters International to be considered for the International Toastmaster Video Contest Award, which is very inspiring. And we've had one member actually win in the past. Bethany Boring has won this in the past. So it's anyone can win. All you have to do is enter, and it's totally possible to win. So the first thing I learned as being a leader of this particular club is that I get to rub elbows virtually with people from all over the world. And I get to say, hey, I'm friends with that person that just won the video speech contest 2 years ago. And then I also belong to physical clubs. So I'm also a district mate of Aaron Beverly. So I can say I know a world champion because he's in my district and I run into him at every district conference. So I can say I know this person. So being president had nothing to do with those two things, but I think that because of those circumstances has helped me be a president, be a better president, be more able to deal with some of the situations that come up as a president of a club. You have to deal with all sorts of personalities and time frames when you're dealing with an international club. You have people coming from all different time zones, and sometimes it's very difficult to have conversations because someone's at 9 a.m. and someone's at 9 p.m. and someone's at some other time during the day. So it's very hard to coordinate. So you really have to make sure that everyone's on the same page, and you have to communicate, communicate, communicate. Just say things over and over again in writing, in email, and verbally, just as many times as you can, just so nobody misunderstands, that everyone's on the same page. So I think that's the number one thing, is that communication as a leader is key. You must communicate in an effective manner that everyone understands and that is very clear as to what you expect and hope to accomplish. And then your team is there behind you because they understand what your goals are. The second thing that I learned this year, 6 months in, as a president of an online international club, is that I feel that our club has one of the most organized and well planned out features. So like we already started discussing this speech contest back in November because we knew it was upcoming. We knew that we were going to have the contest ran and completed and submitted to just Toastmasters before the middle of March. So we wanted to make sure that we would have everything in line to complete the process so that we would be able to submit the video by the middle of March. So timeliness, I think that this club does that very well. We do use our communication skills very well, and we can let each other know, hey, you know, this date doesn't work for me, but I have an opening on this date. Does that work for everyone? So I think that we do that very well as a club. And I think as president or any leader, that being aware of your timing is key. And the third and last thing I think I learned as a president is that not everyone is going to agree with you as president, and that's okay. You can refer back to Toastmasters International and look at the workbook that they have provided every club. It's actually online, and can see what the rules are. If everyone disagrees, that's okay. You just say, hey, this is not my rules. I didn't come up with these rules. These are Toastmasters rules. As a Toastmaster club, we have to abide by those rules. So it's not personal. It's not, you know, this is how Trisha wants it. It's how Toastmasters wants it. And I want to follow Toastmasters rules because they are almost a 100-year-old organization. And obviously, they're doing something right. So I think the third thing is to not let things get personal. Just refer back to the club handbook and say, you know, this is the rule that Toastmasters says that we should follow, and we're following that rule. And there's nothing personal that anyone can take. So I think those are the three things, the three keys as president that I've learned is to be timely, communicate, 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 and just refer back to the rule book. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trisha, President Trisha, and recently minted DTM Trisha Grove. Earlier this month, Trisha received her Distinguished Toastmaster designation for our visitor. That's the highest educational award in Toastmasters that gives a reflection of her ability to have done a certain amount of speeches and taken on leadership roles. So thank you, Trisha, for sharing. At this time, Madam Timer, will you give us 1 minute on the clock? And those of you who would like to give Trisha a little feedback about her speech or something to challenge herself, please do so now.
1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Okay, our next speaker is Toastmaster William Grow. William will be sharing from the Effective Coaching Level 5 Lesson to Learn, sharing a story of lessons to learn from Effective Coaching Level 5. Please help me welcome Toastmaster William Grow.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and future Toastmasters. How many of you see yourself as leaders? Show of hands. Good. When I first became a leader, I didn't know what I was going to do. Thank God for George Williams. He was my very first mentor when I started taking on the role of Sergeant at Arms. And he shaped me into the person I am today. When I first did that role, I was nervous as a rat chasing a cat, or better yet, a cat chasing a rat. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was pulling my hair out. I was actually physically pulling my hair out. George calmly came over to me and said, calm down, breathe. This is what you need to do as Sergeant at Arms. You see all the stuff I have here? You bring this to the meeting, the lectern, the gavel, and all the forms for the meeting. You have to have all this. Plus, bring the flag of the United States into meetings and say the Pledge of Allegiance. My first month, I actually had the flag backwards. I had the stars facing inwards instead of outwards. George came over and very politely said to me, you have the flag on the wrong side. Oh my God. I felt so embarrassed. My face turned red, but I fixed it, and that was okay. That was okay to make a mistake, because from our mistakes is where we grow from. If you make a mistake and you correct it, then you have learned a valuable lesson, my fellow Toastmasters. I did the Sergeant at Arms role for 6 months. And then I was asked by another member, William, are you going to run for Sergeant at Arms again? William, are you going to run for Sergeant at Arms again? William, are you going to run for Sergeant at Arms again? Yes, I'm going to run for Sergeant at Arms. And I got elected a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time, and even a fifth time. When it came up to 6 times to serve as Toastmaster, Sergeant at Arms, I said, Madam Chairman, I decline to do the role. I'd like to see someone new step up and learn. But if no one else will step up, I will take the role. If no one else will do the role. And so they looked around and nobody raised their hand. And then she said, I nominate William Thomas for Sergeant at Arms for a 6th time. If you believe William should be Sergeant at Arms, raise your hand. And everybody raised their hand except for me. I learned so many things from being Sergeant at Arms. Patience, working in a team. And I also learned that I'm not always right. And the way I do things is not always right. Everyone has a way of doing things. Everyone has a way of communicating. And it's not the same way I would communicate. Some people communicate with their eyes. Others communicate with their voice. Others communicate with their hands in different ways. So, my fellow Toastmasters, I ask you to step forward. To step forward. I see in this audience, I see some area directors and some division directors. So I encourage you, my fellow Toastmasters, to break those chains and stand up. Stand up. Stand up, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, William Thomas, for your lessons that you have learned. Now, Madam Timer, will you put 1 minute on the clock so that we may share feedback to William of what he did well or what he can improve or how to challenge himself? 1 minute.
One minute.
Thank you very much, Madam Timer. Jerky. Okay. And now it is the second part of our meeting. This is when we get to think on our feet. And as always, we are sure she will do a great job. Please help me welcome Table Topics Master, and she certainly has mastered it, Isabel Kadori. Woo!
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and esteemed guests. Welcome to the Table Topics session. We want to challenge ourselves to develop impromptu speaking skills to effectively think on our feet and speak off cuff by answering unrehearsed questions. We do this with Table Topics. Table Topics session is specially designed to develop 4 essential communication skills: listening, thinking, organizing, and speaking. We will have about 5 speakers. I will announce a topic first, then call on someone to the virtual stage to give a speech about it. When I state the topic, everybody listens and everybody starts thinking of a response immediately. Remember, you don't need to tell the truth. If you are not familiar with the topic, you can pivot to talk about something else. Your table topic speech should be 1 to 2 minutes long. Our timekeeper will give us a green signal and 1 minute, a yellow signal and 1.5 minutes, and a red signal and 2 minutes. If a speaker sees the red signal, please wrap up in 30 seconds. Today we have a theme: Happy New Year, a toast to new beginnings. Are you ready for a toast? To celebrate the new year and a new decade, I would like to ask our first speaker to propose a toast. May I ask Chris Mitchell? Chris, are you ready to give a toast?
Right. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. For me to give a toast, first of all, I need to go into the kitchen and put some bread into the toaster. Or I can make toast and give toast by creating French toast, which if I do that, will make a really big mess for my wife to clean up. So I guess my only choice is to actually give a verbal toast. And the other reason I need to do it verbally is there's no way to upload a piece of toast of French toast for all of you to download and eat and enjoy it. Now I could still make the toasted jelly, toast with butter, French toast, and enjoy it and make you guys watch me eat it, but that would be rude. So instead, I am going to take my glass and make a toast for 2012 to a brand new year, a year that I hope everyone has happiness in, everyone has success in whatever they wish to achieve this coming year, that everyone not only reaches their goals, but exceeds them beyond their wildest dreams, and that everyone has a year full of wealth, happiness, and blessings. To 2020, the year of perfect vision. Happy New Year. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful toast, and a toast to everybody, toast to competitive communicators for the new year. Now, I would like to ask the second question. You already have a New Year's resolution. Would you like share with us? Would you like to share it with us? Or if you don't want to share yours, but you know somebody else, maybe you can share with us somebody else's New Year's resolution. With this question, I would like to call King Mitchell. King, would you please take the challenge?
Sure, I will take the challenge. Let me start this. Well, when it comes down to resolutions, I am not one who typically likes to make a resolution, only because I like to live a carefree life, just go through my life, not worrying about a thing. But this year I decided, because of last year, I decided that I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to bullet journal some different things in my life. One of the things I want to bullet journal is I want to bullet journal being able to have a gratitude list of things that every day, writing down something I'm grateful for that I have. Another thing that I want to do is to be able to have a vision board. Now, this vision board is something that I'm going to place at work. I'm going to place it here at home, so that way I can see where I want to be at the end of the year and what things I would like to have in 5 years and in 10 years, and what goals do I have for work. The other thing that I would like to do is enjoy my Michelle Obama book and be able to journal in there every day to be a better person and to see where I have been and where I'm going and what makes me me. So more of my resolution is just to dive into me and figure out what makes me tick and figure out what I can do to be a better person for everybody around me. And so today is a day of celebration because we're ending 2019 and we're going to begin 2020, and we're alive and healthy, and it's a time to celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for sharing your New Year resolutions. You have many of them, but each of them are fun and very doable. I believe you will accomplish them all. Now, next question is, have you started something in 2019 and it will continue in 2020? What is that? Again, the question is, have you started something in 2019 and it will continue in 2020? What is that? With this question, I would like to call our guest. Yang, would you please take the challenge?
Well, I think for the year 2020, I will continue exercising a lot to stay fit. Because sometimes in the past, I was too sedentary. That lifestyle is very unhealthy. But I think I'll continue trying to stay fit, which is very important for the health and for the longevity, and also to get to know more friends, to get involved in more community events. Yeah, so I think that this could be a brief answer. Possibly, I think I might have violated several rules that, or William mentioned in the past, right? That when you talk, you shouldn't pause, etc. But yeah, but this will be my brief answer. Yeah.
Thank you. And congratulations on your first table topic speech, and you made 1 minute mark. That's a great achievement for first time. And I've met Yang in this year, and I know she's pretty fit. Now I would like to call the next table topic. That's a reflection for the previous year's resolution. So in the past, did you successfully execute your New Year's resolution? Would you like to share with us? With this question, I would like to call Willie. Willie, would you like to share with us a successful execution of a New Year's resolution?
Thank you, Table Topic Master. I said to tell you that I did not execute any resolution last year because I was so busy with work. But this year, 2020, I would like to I like to execute those things that those resolutions I never execute in 2019 could continue in 2020. So there will not be any new resolution set for 2020. It will continue for where I have not started in 2019, and I will continue through 2020. Like what Tricia have mentioned and what most of us who are project manager, we have this code. Begin with an end in mind. So I am still holding on to 2019 resolution. Thank you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Willie, for sharing your the past year's resolution, and you will continue for next year. I hope this year will be a successful execution. Wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Now I would like to give next table topics. What's the most fun thing to do on New Year's Day? What's the most fun thing to do on New Year's Day? I would like to call Sandra. Sandra, would you like to take this table topic question? Sandra?
Topics master, yes, I was having difficulty unmuting myself. Can you repeat that? I could not quite understand the question.
Yeah. The question is, what is the most fun thing to do on the New Year's Day?
The most fun thing?
Yeah, fun. F-U-N, fun thing to do.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most distinguished guests. The most fun thing to do on New Year's Eve. Well, that depends on where I am and who I'm with, because it could change. If I was in Barbados, then it would probably be the way my great-grandmother, enjoyed the New Year's Day would most likely be just standing outside watching the old year pass and the new year coming, and then there's always a feast afterwards, a feast of a lot of Caribbean type foods. In Canada, it's a bit more of a challenge to find the things that we would use back in Barbados. So the celebration here would be a lot different. New Year's Day, if you've gone out the night before and partied really, really hard and drank, then New Year's Day would probably be spent in bed trying to get over the night before. This year, I am hoping I'm going out in a little while with some friends of mine. This is my first New Year's Eve in Manitoba. So I do not want to sleep the day away tomorrow. I would like to be out there and starting the new year full of energy, full of life, full of happiness with friends, and just be in awe and be thankful and grateful for life and health for the most part, and just celebrate, Madam Table Topics Master.
Unmute.
Oh, thank you for unmuting me. Well, thank you, Madam Table Topic Speaker. I wish you a very happy New Year's Day tomorrow. And since you are celebrating having this online meeting party, so I don't think we will get drunk. Anyone? No one will get drunk. And that concludes the table topic segment. We have 5 speakers. Our first speaker is Chris Mitchell, and the second speaker is Kim Mitchell. The third speaker is our new guest, Yang Li, and the fourth speaker is Willie Lowe, and the fifth speaker is Sandra Paris. So, and please, at the end of the meeting, please vote who is the best table topic speaker. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master, for those great questions on this last night of the year. We will not be voting for a best speaker, but can we at this time just give everyone a hand? Because those were some great answers to those great questions. And because not everybody will be able to stay throughout the whole meeting, at this time, I want to take a moment to do our celebratory toast. I'm going to put my screen in gallery view, or rather, it will say speaker view, which means it's in gallery view. You can do the same thing. And I would like to ask our president to lead us in a toast. So if everyone would, ouch, excuse me, had to pop this open. If everyone would grab their glasses, and so we can go ahead and do our toast led by our leader, Tricia.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Little known fact is that my husband is Irish. Our last name is Grow. And I was looking for a traditional Irish toast that might fit the situation. So I really enjoy this particular one. So this is a Irish folktale, traditional Irish toast, sorry. In the new year, may your right hand be always stretched out in friendship, but never in want. Here's to us, competitive communicators, and to have our hands stretched out in friendship, but never in want.
Wow. Oh, I better not take too much more. That's good stuff. All right. Thank you, President Grow. Yes, everybody. And thank you all for taking part in this part of our celebration. The third part of our meeting is actually listening. Listening is very important. And our general evaluator will be William Thomas, and he will be talking to us about the roles that will come in terms of evaluation. William Grow, that's Tricia's husband. William Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Hello, Toastmasters and future Toastmasters. My job as the general evaluator is to introduce the evaluators and to evaluate the meeting. Mr. or Madam Timing, can I have the timing requirements for evaluations?
It's 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Our first evaluator, evaluating Tricia Grove, is Distinguished Toastmaster Sandra Paris. Sandra, the floor is yours.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests, and especially Tricia. I enjoyed your speech. It was informative for me to learn some of the things that you found to be interesting, that you found in your stint so far as president of Competitive Communicators. One of the things that I would have loved to have happened prior to your starting your speech would have been, one, a title to hang your speech to. It's like where you hang your hat. For me, that was missing because I wasn't sure what your tie-in was throughout your speech. In addition to that, it would have been great for everyone hearing the speech to be told exactly what the speech project was and the purpose of the project, and then the purpose of the speech, so that we will be able to give you better feedback according to what was required. So that is first off. I love the way you started your speech. Have you ever considered? It put everyone in a pensive state of mind as to get into your speech, as it were. And then you give us those 5 words, begin with the end in mind. That was powerful. It not only told us how you started and how your story unraveled, but it also gave us an idea for us to start the new year, this being the last day of our year, to start the new year with as well. I like the 3 stories you gave. You told us what you were going to tell us, then you told us, and then you repeated. Some of the things that I would have loved to have done, or my suggestion for me would have made the speech that much better, would have been to maybe start with your point number 3 about the going back to the rule book. And the purpose I said that is that to me, it brought your speech to a somber end. I would have started with that, use the timeliness, the contest as your middle of your speech, and then finish on the high note of the things that you've done in terms of the rubbing elbows with all of the different people you got to meet, both online and in your brick and mortar club. That's just a suggestion, Trish. The one thing I find that you do, and I'm not sure if it's a nervous tick, but you seem to giggle or laugh, which to me tells me that you're not exactly sure of yourself or what you're going to say. And you do it at times when it is poignant, when you're saying something that is prolific or something that is profound or something that is serious. So it might be something you might want to take a look at. For instance, you said it while you were talking about the presidency, and then you did it again further into the speech when you were talking about people taking up that role. I found that the speech was on an even keel, in that you could have utilized maybe a little bit more dramatization, a little bit more vocal variety for the 3 aspects of your speech, just to define them a little bit more and made them individual, as opposed to the report, like, on that same tone. The conclusion, I would have gone back to begin with the end in mind and make it that much more impactful, because now you're speaking to the audience as maybe someone in my audience might want to become president next year. So finished it with that. This is something that I learned, I grew, I enjoyed. So begin with the end in mind, and maybe you can look for like a call to action. But it was a great speech. It was timely, and I got quite a bit from it. Thank you very much, Trish.
Thank you, Sandra. Now evaluating my speech, Toastmaster Chris Mitchell. Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator. All right, your speech tonight was basically, I don't have it in front of me, like I said earlier. I'm working from my tablet tonight. What you've learned, this is part of your level 5 speeches that you have to do. One thing is that when you were giving the speech, you did not rush through it. It was easy to follow. You had a good pace as you delivered the speech. I like that. It was well organized and very informative. You did share with us some of the things that you learned during your years as Sergeant at Arms at a traditional club. You shared the lesson you learned about the flag, and you spoke about how you had the stars backwards, which I was trying to picture, and it was hard to picture. I was picturing the flag actually being unraveled, displayed, unfurled. Thank you, unfurled. What would have helped when you were setting that up is explaining that the flag had been folded. I was picturing, how do you put a flag up backwards? I mean, I could see upside down, but backwards didn't really work for me. I would have explained that a little bit better. You also mentioned during the speech that you learned about working with others and on teams during your time as Sergeant at Arms. I would have liked to have heard some examples of what you learned, some of the lessons that you learned from that we could gain from that. And drawing something from Trisha's speech, which I find really helpful, not saying she's better than you or anything like that, but what we try to do at our brick and mortar club is start with a question like Trish did. You could have started with, have you ever been in a role where you learned more than you expected to learn? That gets the audience wanting to know, starting to think about what you're going to talk about, their own experiences, and they may tune in more to what you're saying to them. Overall, it was a great speech. Enjoyed hearing it, and thank you for the opportunity to evaluate you. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator. Now it's my turn to call the rolls, and then I will give my evaluation of the meeting. Mr. Grammarian and Accountant. Whoops, that's me. For the Grammarian report, we had one person that used the word of the day. That was Kim. Everybody had great English language. Now for the Oz. Kim, I don't know if you noticed this, but when you connect your speeches, you always say, and this, and this. What you might want to say, this is my next thing I'm going to talk about, or so forth. You don't want to say and. So that's something to make you aware of. And you had 2 ums. Our guest actually had 11 ums that I counted. And I stopped counting after that. That's okay. You'll get rid of it as you become a Toastmaster. You'll learn that breathe, slow down, take a breath, and use pauses. That will help you connect with with what you're saying. Other than that, great speeches, great topics. And now I call our body language monitor to come forward. I'm sorry, did you nod your head, Madam Toastmaster? Okay, we're not going to do body language.
Won't do body language or chat monitor.
Okay, so we're skipping those. Okay. Then I can go ahead and go into my evaluation since we're doing that. This has been a great meeting, even though we didn't have as many people as we normally do. One of the things I would like to see us do, or one of the things I do at my brick and mortar club when I served as Vice President of Education, is we had little Hershey Kisses for someone who would sign up for a role who wasn't asked to sign up, they just chose to sign up. And because they did that, they got a little Hershey Kiss, or they got a special certificate for a month for what they did. That's that's something I will be talking to our Vice President of Membership, Vice President of Education about, and see if we can input that. Overall, great meeting, enthusiasm. I can't wait till next year. Competitive communicators, #1. Competitive communicators, #1. Madam Toastmaster, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, and thank you each and every one of you who participated today. This has been a great meeting. We will not have our poll, but at this time, I would just like to actually just share what Sandra just said as she prepares to leave for her evening. And she just said, thank you for being you and your contributions to her 2019. And I'd like to also add, just like Sandra, to wish everyone a year filled with joy, with peace, with happiness, with love, success. Define what success means to you. And then manage your priorities this year as well as your goals. I have had a great 2019, looking forward to making more friendships, becoming a better leader and speaker in 2020. How about you? Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. And again, I reiterate all the above or previous mentioned is that I wish you all a wonderful 2020. Here's to be becoming an even better club. And I can't wait to spend the next year with my friends and family here at Competitive Communicators. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers. Is there anybody else who has anything they'd like to add? Because again,
Yes.
it's a great year.
Yes, I do.
Loving everybody. Go ahead, Chris.
Don't worry. Oh, we did not get the timer report.
Oh, yes.
Let's do that.
There you go, Kim.
Oh, he just so loves me doing the timer.
She said, don't worry about that. And I threw her underneath the bus. I'm going to have a great new year.
Great.
Okay, so Trissa, your speech went 8 minutes and 50 seconds.
Wow.
So you went a little bit over. William, you went 6:55, right on the dot there. Our table topics, you had Chris at 127, myself at 153, Young at 110, which is great because usually the first time you ever do a table topics, you don't reach that 1 minute. That was always hard at first.
Yes.
Willie did 103 and Sandra did 149. Sandra, she did 309 on her evaluation, and Chris did 224. So we had a really great timing. We only had one that didn't make it in within the time, but that's okay. And we had our time to celebrate.
Yay.
Just like Kool in the Gang.
Woo! Celebrate
Good times on.
Woo woo! And Trish, would you ask our guest how they enjoyed the
Yes.
meeting?
Yes, I would like to ask Young to share any thoughts. What did you like from tonight's meeting?
I definitely have seen a lot of different, speech styles, different styles, and people definitely speak much more slowly than I do. So, well, yeah, because, and also the combination of gestures, speed, and the content. So yeah, so I think I've learned quite a bit by observing. Yeah.
Great, and we welcome you back. And I did give you my email address. So if you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to drop me a line. Whether you're interested in being a member or just any questions on Toastmasters, whatever I could help you with, be glad to do that. And our returning guest, Willie, how did you enjoy? You have to go back in time and experience New Year's Eve all over again.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Tricia. It was a wonderful meeting, although it's early morning for me. I believe that 2020 will be a good year for all the online Toastmaster Club. Sorry. It will be a good year for all online clubs, regardless where we are. In Asia, in Europe, in Australia, and in the US. We are all one body, one community. We are here to help each other in terms is speaking, evaluation, or appointment role. So regardless where we are, I wish on behalf of Singapore Online English Toastmaster Club, I wish everyone at competitor communicator a very good new year and hope the online club will grow as fast as the physical club. Thank you, Tricia. Club President Tricia.
Thank you very much. And I again wish everyone a happy 2020. We'll go ahead and end the recording and the meeting. And I can't wait to see you next year.